Hello, and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. How are you doing today, Heather?
I'm doing good, John. It looks like you're on the road again, making an impact everywhere you go. I love that we are committed to our live broadcasts 3 times a week, and we can do them from anywhere. That's the beauty of technology these days.
Yeah, no, listen, I am in the city of Welland or town of Welland. I don't know what you call it exactly, but what a beautiful drive coming in. It was just, I left my house, it was around 6 and the sun was coming up and it's just been just a stunning drive. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful fall day. And it's,
I,
just to get to see a different part of Ontario, which is kind of amazing. So,
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. Welland is a beautiful town, and too bad you're not there on a weekend because they've got great farmers markets. I guess the farmers markets are turning into Christmas and holiday markets, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I love, we don't explore our own cities very often. Often, and for me, I travel all over the world. I love to travel, but I also love to do road trips. And it doesn't matter what the reason for the road trip. If you can tack on some sightseeing or just notice, the leaves have fallen, the trees are changing, the different types of communities that are there. I think it's a beautiful thing. And exploring really, I don't know, it energizes me all the time. Doesn't matter where I'm exploring, whether it's a park in my own neighborhood or a beautiful drive to Welland.
Yeah. No, listen, I delivered a mini workshop yesterday to a group of young students as part of Riaz's youth leadership program. And one of the lines or one of the quotes that I shared with them that I love comes from Sarah Blakely. Now I can remember her name, Sarah Blakely. And she says, the more I experience, the more I have to offer. And sometimes just
Mm.
you and discovering the places around you, right? Like we get so hyper focused on our day to day. We get so hyper focused on living in the city that we're in that we don't go out and explore. And, here I am this morning in a completely different place. And it's like, wow, like this is different. I got to see, giant fields. I got to see lakes. I got to see vineyards. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's such an amazing experience to be able to come out and just be a part of this and then take this back and share it with the world, which is all what I'm doing right now through our podcast,
I
right? Just
love it.
sharing experience. It's so amazing.
The explorer, idea too. So many people are a little afraid to explore things on their own. And in fact,
Mm,
if you don't explore things on your own, what happens is you miss out being an observer and you don't see things the same way. So, it's really important that you do these kinds of things alone. Go for a walk in the park and just notice that and put your phone away. Of course, put your phone away. Otherwise, you're not alone. You're with technology. But you'll notice, the birds flying into the trees. You'll notice, animals scurrying into the brush. You'll see all of these things. But if you were with another person, your voices would scare those animals away, so you wouldn't see it. Or you might notice your surroundings. For me, when I walk somewhere and I don't want to use my GPS and I'm out, I don't want to get lost either. One of the tactics that I always do is I stop and I look behind where I've come from. And the reason I
mm,
do that is if I have to turn around and go back, I won't know what it looks like the other way. So I'll turn around and look backwards so that I can visualize and know where I'm going to be going and it'll feel familiar. And I think that's another tactic that, whether you're walking and you don't want to get lost or you don't want to get lost in life, looking back on what you've accomplished is a really good, and where you've been is a really good tactic to plan for the future. And that is something, John, that me and you are starting to work on for our own 2024, but we want to help everyone out there do the same. So
mm.
here's a question that I have for you, John. If you were to look back on 2023, what feelings and what words come up for you that, just sort of like a word cloud in your own head for what you've accomplished and what has happened?
Wow, listen, that's a big question, and you're just kind of catching me off the spot here. But a big part of it is going back to my big word from January of this year, which is abundance, right? In everything that we do, and every opportunity that we have, and in every interaction, it's all about abundance, right? So abundance is around.
Mm,
The other one is adventure, right? Like this year, I took on
mm.
my biggest adventures ever, and I did an Ironman 70.3, and it's like at the beginning of the year, that wasn't even a reality yet. but we got there. And then the other word is reality. What is reality? How do I create a new version of myself for the future? And what is, the John of 2023 is going to be different from the John of 2024. And, actually another word is just vision. So there's a lot of words coming up.
Ooh, I love it. See, yeah, I love this process.
Yeah, let's create the vision of who we want to be. Like, who is John in 2024? Right. And a lot of times I think what I've seen is, you kind of carry the same person forward year after year, but we are slightly different every single year.
That's right.
Right. The John of 2022, listen, you and I, we started working closely together in 2021, 2022, is very different from the John of 2023. And the John of 2024, even more so. Right. So, what does that version of me start to look like? And how do I create a vision of what I want for me and my life and the people? I think that's a big part. And then another big part is just impact, right? Like what we've been able to do through our podcast, what we've been able to do as professors, what we've been able to do as speakers and coaches and facilitators, creating impact for others. We had this grand vision of impacting 1 million people this year. I don't know what the final numbers are just yet, but we're not at the end of the year, so we still got some time. But creating impact, like having a target of 1 million people, actually, us to think differently, forced us to get into a different space.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this around. What are your words for, as you look back and reflect on 2023, what are your big words?
100%. And John, what I love about your words, and I will answer your question, what I love about your words is it gives me an insight into what your values are, because our words are also part of our value system. So things like adventure, explore, vision, impact, this is what you live for. This is speaking from your heart. And at first you were taken back by the question, and then it just flowed. And that's what's really important, is that you let these things flow, and there's no right or wrong answer. So if you're listening with us today, put your words in the comments. Those words that came up, those words that maybe are shared words like John's. We'd love to hear what your words are. What did you feel? And when you look back on last year, what words come up for you? And my word for the whole year was strength. And strength redefined itself this year, because strength at first, when I come up with that word, was I wanted to feel powerful and strong. I wanted to feel strong in my body. I wanted to, be able to do more push-ups, all of those things. And what it actually turned out to be was that plus strength in, resilience, strength in, my mind and my heart, strength in doing hard things that, and adventures in Mongolia, sleeping outside for 10 days and, herding a bunch of yaks. Like, I didn't know that I would need the strength to sit on a horse all day long when I came up with that word, but that's what showed up. And this adventure and this explore showed up, and all of my words came together to create a powerful moment for me. And that really, I didn't know that was where the word was going to go. And I think that's the beauty of, predicting what word you'd like to stand for the year, and then seeing how the universe and how your own life works around that word to find the way to make it happen. And actually, I just sent you an Instagram post on a gentleman who's done 101 Ironmans in 101 days. Now, a year ago, if I would have sent that to you, would have gone, Heather, like that's ludicrous. Now, you still think it's ludicrous, but that came up because of your, what your impact is that you want to do.
Yeah, no, listen, when you talked about that article and I looked it up, I'm like, how do you even do like 140 miles every day for 101 days? Wow. But, the one thing that's come up through all of this is, when you talk about the word strength, and what showed up for me was strength and mental, your mindset, right? Making it, I'm not going to say bulletproof, but strengthening it to the point where it can do anything. And Felicia's coming in right now, courage, strength, healing, helping.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
I love those words.
Yeah, but it comes down to, strength. Like this year more than ever, what I realized was the power of mindset and what it really can do for you. Right? Because I look at what we've been through and the adventures that we've gone on, whether it was you climbing a mount or hiking through Ireland, or climbing through Mongolia. Like Heather, you went through you you went to
Oh yeah,
some
I
pretty
forgot.
amazing.
There was a few other adventures that I had this year.
Yeah. So, like we're only talking about the most recent things that we've been through, but when you reflect on a year, you can see how much it actually has been completed and has been done. Right? This is why I
Hmm.
love this exercise. Like the end of year reflection helps guide you to where you want to be in the future. And when you take the time out, and this is what we're planning right now, is we're going to put a workshop together around this, where we're going to look at what did this year look like for you, and then what stopped you and held you back, because there were
Hmm.
moments that held us back, right? I know you and I, we have the opportunity to work with each other quite often, so we get to coach each other. So I love that. And what's been really great is we've been able to challenge each other in a really positive way. Like I think about how much we've grown over this last year through this podcast and through the work that we've done. It's pretty amazing, right?
Well,
Like when you
it's
asked to reflect.
absolutely amazing. And here's what our listeners, we share a little bit of this, and maybe we need to share more in 2024. Maybe we need to be a little bit more vulnerable. Will be a word that I'll adopt for next year. But behind the scenes, we have challenges too. We
Mhm.
have resistance. We have moments where we're like, can I really do this? Why did I sign up for this? Why did I commit to this? What am I thinking? And we have those same questions come up. And so when we have a coach, and John, you've been able to be this sort of reflection of me when I say those words out loud, rather than solving it for me, you just ask me more questions, because you know that if you get curious enough, I'll find my own answers. Because if you find them for me, I'm not committed to that. I'm not committed to someone else finding the answers. I'm committed to myself finding the answers. And that's why this year-end reflection process is so powerful, because you're actually showing yourself that you can do the things that you didn't think was possible because you've already done them. But we have to actually do that reflection, because we have amnesia. I mean, I just had it right now on this call. I was talking about Mongolia, and then you reminded me about 3 other amazing trips around the world that I did. So, even I'm having amnesia when I look at the whole year. And of course, if you do this process year after year, you can have a journal that is so powerful. It's just stacked full of your experiences, your unique experiences that make up uniquely who you are. And that is where you get the courage from. That's where you get the strength from. That's where you heal and help others heal. And Felicia, I'm stealing all your words because they're just amazing. And then you can help others to step into their best version of themselves. And that's why, John, me and you love coaching, because that is, we're looking at the world and saying someone is going through something that we've already experienced, and how can we be of service to that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, listen, it just gives us. I love it. I love it. It's our way of giving back to the world. It's our way of creating impact in the million people that we want to reach this year, right? So, but you're right. The one thing that we don't really talk about too much is how we go through our own challenges, right? We have our own difficult moments. And listen, even with this podcast, there were moments where, like, do we keep going? Do we stop? And you and I actually a lot of it was you, Heather. So it's like we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going. We got to get this done. We got to go. We got to go. And here we are. Now in November 2023, I can't even imagine what November 2024 is going to look like. But in November 2023, just being here and just sharing, right? And taking what we're going through every single day. And, even yesterday, I had the opportunity to speak to the youth leadership program, and just listening to these children, share their experience of the world and what they're going through, and how, as part of their youth leadership program, they're working on their communication skills and their leadership skills. And I was so impressed by them. Like I was blown away.
Mm.
17 children in the room, between the ages of 15 and 17. And can I tell you, like, wow, if I had that growing up, I think, I'd be in a different spot today, but I'm happy with where I'm at too. So I'm going to preface that because, you can't change the past, but you can change where you currently are and where you're going. And I was just so impressed by them. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them, and the work that they're putting in every week, through an 8-week youth leadership program, just really changing the world in a really small way, but in a big way, because this is only the beginning for them. And I remember
Hmm.
going on my own Toastmaster communication journey, it's led me to this, right?
Yeah. Well, and I
Amazing.
think that you're talking about the youth, and they're well advanced in seeing the world through a different lens. The possibilities are endless, and they see a lot of, invest in crypto and do all these things, and you're going to be a millionaire. And what I think is missing, John, and I love that you're filling in some of this, is who are you going to be? It's not what you're
Mm.
going to do, but who are you going to be, and who do you have to become to be a person that makes a big impact on the world, that changes, lives in the future. And sure, making money might be part of that formula, but how do we actually make sure that your mindset is strong enough to get there? And for those of you that are not in your youth, the world has changed so fast and turned over so fast that the starting point is now. We've been talking about AI for, the last year. It's now mainstream, but AI isn't new. It's been around for many, many years. I used to do robotics and implementation, in another world, in another lifetime career. But, it's now at a place that it is every access for everyone. And so,
Mm.
if you are of an age, you're like, I can't learn new things, I'm going to wind down in my career, I urge you to stay on top of these things, because there is some really exciting technology that's out there that even in the next 45 days going to be like taken to the next level. So if you feel that you're not an expert, you're just like everyone else. It's okay. So,
Yeah.
educate yourself, because 2024 is maybe the year to learn. I love learning new things. Like last year, no, it's 2 years ago now. I learned how to knit. I just watched a YouTube video, learned how to knit, and everybody got blankets for Christmas. So actually, now I'm like, what am I going to make this year? Shoot, it's November. I better get going. Anyway, I stopped because I'm on a tangent here, John. And let me get it back to you, because what are your thoughts on lifetime learning?
Listen, I would love a blanket. It's kind of chilly at nighttime, so yes. If you need a hint for Christmas, there you go. Yeah, no, but the just the thought, how the world is evolving, how the world is changing, and it's we have an opportunity to give back in a big way. I know, Felicia, you did that through your HPL last week, right? Creating an open house for a club, and just giving back in that way. Like, we can all do that. The word that came up for me while you were talking about this, whether it's AI or anything else, is just be curious, right? Because there's something
Mm,
that happens as we grow older is we forget to just be curious, right? And as coaches, that's one of the things we do. We have to be curious, because, how do we get to the stem of an issue if we're not curious? Learning about somebody's past, but not living in the past and really using the past as leverage for the future, and
yes.
digging deep into that, because that's what gives us strength. That's what gives us courage. That's what gives us healing and helping. I'm stealing your words again, Felicia. Um, but it's all these little things that we do that get us to this place. And, if we can just, take the moment, and this is it, right? And I think here's a call to action. So I'll do the call to action today. Take a moment and ask yourself the question, what words make up 2023 for you up until this point? We're not
Mm,
done yet. So we still got time, right? So we're about midway through November. So we still got a good 6 weeks to go. We're not done yet. But what are your words so far? And if you want to add a few more words to your vocabulary as you go through the remainder of this year, what words would you add? What words
mm,
would this year incredibly strong for you? And what could be the
amazing.
words that launch you into 2024?
I love
Right?
that call to action. And, that is if you're listening now, or if you're listening to the recording, some words just popped into your head, and those are the ones you want to write down. This isn't an exercise to
Mhm.
do later. Just write down the words that already popped into your head. And then, just close your eyes for a moment and go through the months. Like, just visualize January, February, March, April. Do that just for 30 seconds on each month, and see if there's any new words that you want to add to the list. And that is an amazing, amazing reflection process. And, we didn't touch on, John, if there's any words that are on the not so positive side. So we shared our
Mhm.
positive side. And I want to honor that there, words like grief, like sadness, like loneliness
Mhm.
might come up for you. And that's okay too, because that is the experience that you had. And there's a lot of lessons to learn from that. So write those words down as well, because it defined who you were for a moment. But there's other words on your list that also help define who you were at another moment. And so you want to look at those words not in isolation, but together as a totality of all the words that make up who you were in 2023. So don't shy away from those words. It was part of your experience.
Yeah, no, great point. I love that, because we tend to just focus on the good. We don't really focus on all the other things that are going on with us. And listen, one of my words that I'm thinking about right now is just challenge, right? Like there was
Mm.
moments where it was challenging, and being vulnerable to the point where I started sharing that with people helped me kind of heal myself of it. So
Mm.
yeah, time and put those words down. I can't believe we're at the end of this this episode. So
Always.
just wanted to mention before we wrap up, I am doing a public speaking workshop this coming Saturday as part of the New Horizon Media Arts Give Back program, where they're giving back to seniors. And so that's going to be on Saturday at 11 a.m. And I'm going to invite anybody who wants to just boost their confidence in public speaking, communication, to join me this coming weekend. It's my way of giving back as well. So I'll include a link below in the comments so you can join us there. Registration's free. Come spend an hour with me on Saturday.
Ooh.
Heather, thank you again for such an amazing episode. Remember the work that we've just assigned to you. Take it away, and we'd love to get your feedback and comments on Friday when we get together. Share that with us. Share some of those insights. And if you want to, you can also share them with us privately through Messenger and LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you're watching this, even on Twitch. So thank you again. And just remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one. Talk to you later. Take care.